Okay, hello, welcome everybody to the last edition of the Filmmaker Discussions of the 8th Oroville Film Festival. We had a wonderful sequence of film discussion from the last week with very powerful and meaningful conversations. I hope that we can continue that today. The way I would like to do it is that we start with the 3 trailers from the 3 films. And then I make a very brief opening statement, and then we go right into the discussion. And do you want to start?
Quando siamo qui oggi la gente non sa quello che abbiamo attraversato per arrivare qui. Ho lasciato mio figlio, ho detto deve stare tranquilla, la mamma va a cercare la vita, se tutto va bene dopo vieni a prendere la mamma.
Libyan proverb which said, let me say in Arabic and then I will try to say it in English. It said, فكر في خروجك قبل الدخول. Things about your exit from Libya before you entering Libya.
L'acqua che entrava nella barca era un rumore che non dimenticherò mai nella mia vita.
Come la gente dice, quando devi morire vedi tutta la tua vita davanti a te. È esatto, tutta la mia vita.
What do you do? क्या करता है?
मैं साड़ी बनाता है।
अच्छा।
हर तरफ होगा रानी रानी रानी, बॉलीवुड में बस तुम्हारा ही नाम होगा और पैसा कमाओगे।
खूब पैसा कमाएंगे और पिंकिया को बहुत अच्छा हॉस्टल में भेजेंगे देखना।
Why is there this fucking bullshit everywhere in the world? No? I'm so tired of it. It's like in Israel, same thing, like people just have no reason, they just fight each other, they just hate each other for no reason.
Okay, hello. Hello, welcome to the 8th Oral Film Festival. Today is the last discussion, the sixth discussion in the long, exciting and accelerating week of documentary film here in Oroville around the topic of human unity. We had a lot of discussions on a lot of different topics, and today I would like to look a little bit at the formal elements of film, maybe as a starting point. We see three different films today. Ritesh Sharma, the Brittle Thread, and Saumya Srivastava with Kolam. Claudia Cataldi with Apnea is here. And these three films, they represent really different ways of filmmaking, one without words, one with only spoken words, and one with a cinematic narrative. They address very different topics: beauty in Oroville, human devastating tragedy at the European border, and boiling social tensions in Varanasi. And I'm wondering if you want today talk about the choice of format in relation to the topics. Why did you choose the format for your film in relation to the topics? Because it really struck me today when I was watching them again, that they are so radically different. And maybe you all want to kind of make a short statement on that, and then we go into the general discussion.
All right, I will start. So I'm Elena, one of the directors of Apnea, and with Claudia that is here with us. And well, in Apnea, we have choose to use just interviews and animations because well, in Italy and in Europe, we talk a lot about migrations, and it's a very discussed issue. But we always talk about numbers. How many people have arrived on the borders, on the coast? How many are dead, and so on. And we never speak about who these people are, who they are, where they come from. We don't know anything about them in the civil society. So we decided to use just interviews because we think that they are strong enough to arrive and to tell their stories. We didn't want to use any artificial instrument. We didn't want to use any fiction or something else. We just wanted to let them speak to us. So yeah,
like they do with us. So
exactly.
The same things that we saw here in the studio is the film.
I'll go. Hi, I'm Ritesh. So I chose when I decided this story, when I was writing this story, it's because I'm coming from a documentary film background, and I was planning to do a documentary again on the dancer, but kind of I just felt that okay, let's try to blur this fiction and documentary in the film. Let's try to write a narrative where, because everything there's a fiction that's coming is coming from the lot of realism, and try to create a cinema where you are seeing a documentary or seeing a fiction. You trying to break that thin line. So that was I'm also coming from a theater background, so I used my theater and the documentary. I did all the research, and then I felt it would be nice to create a story where I can tell the two characters, a story of two characters, and the whole theme from these two characters, what I want to say, and to make this a human film where still there's an approach of a documentary cinema. So yeah, because of that I chose, and I felt okay. This is the way, and now I'm feeling it. It has to be in that way. It has to be in the narrative, and then me, my cameraman, we all chose this narrative and went for that. That's it.
Hi everyone, nice to meet all of you. Saumya here.
Hi,
So
Soumya.
unlike the usual documentary formats that we have, um, I went in for an idea of creating a cinematic journey because what is one thing that people like the most is to have their own perspectives. So through this film, although a documentary, I wanted to create a canvas, which was everything and everyone as much as possible about Audible to capture its true essence, to kind of create a capsule of an expression which is also the spirit of the place. So that's what I would like to say for this question.
I have a question for Ritesh and later for Claudia and Elena.
Speak louder into the microphone.
Claudia and Elena. Okay. And so I like your the name of your movie, The Brittle Thread. I think it is a good title. You say at the beginning of the movie, some events and situations in this film are not fictional. Okay, and my question is, the interaction between people in the movie, are they all fictional or non-fictional? For example, at the middle of the movie, there is an altercation between Shaddad and two other people, Hindus. Is it fictional or not fictional?
Which shot you're saying? The Sadab and the Sadab.
Yeah, and there
Can you
is
tell me the exact scene?
It is 48 minutes after the beginning of the movie.
I don't know.
So sorry,
But what?
I take notes. Okay. And,
It's I don't remember
if
it.
you want a
But
script, I am available. Okay.
basically, it's all. I wrote the whole film. I wrote the whole story. What are not fictional is what you're seeing. The rallies that's happening. Also, when you see those some people who are singing and dancing, these are not fictional, but how the narrative is a fictional, coming from somewhere. A lot of real incidents and things happen. The narrative is fictional. So, but the songs, music, and the rallies, the political rallies, those are non-fiction. Those things will happen. Other things are all fiction. Yes.
This is for you, Saumya. Once again, I always seem to want to start with a question, but I end up saying a comment. I really like the way the pacing of the cinematography. Like sometimes it's really slowed down, sometimes it really picks up in pace, sometimes it's a close-up, sometimes it's, yeah. What was the idea behind that?
So just to give a little a backstory, when we did our research and we came and lived in Auroville for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month back in 2013, 2014. And we were floating a couple of ideas in terms of whether to give it a strong narrative or to get interviews. usually when you see a documentary, it's driven through a narrative, right? Either verbal or through a character or through how Ritesh has wonderfully amalgamated fiction and non-fiction over such a strong subject. We did not, so when I say we, I mean me and my producer. We did not want to take the traditional documentary route. We were very clear on that because I was certain it would not do justice to what Auroville is about. And that's when we decided to take on a cinematic journey as a decision. And we went in for all high-speed shots because one thing that we realized in these 2 years that we were floating in bits and bits around Auroville, meeting many, many people and trying to understand what got them here, how they feel about the place, what is their vision with Auroville at an individual level. It was very unique to everyone. So giving a narrative was definitely not the way that I could have done. Okay, let's boom, get a couple of people to talk about this place, get some beautiful shots, and bang, my film is ready. I couldn't do that. I would not have been satisfied. And in terms of shots, the entire film is a high-speed film. So the pacing that you're referring to is actually done through edit on post, because the film is structured in a chapter format. So there are these 4 chapters which were significant of the 4 zones, 5 zones actually in Auroville. So we've captured 4 zones. And the second bit of it was to go, so Auroville is a representation of a universe around the Matra Mandir. So if you watch the film again and you see the sequence of events, we've gone in a format that starts from the fire, which is the Matra Mandir, goes all around and ends with the fire. Because the idea was to create a universe. And since I wanted to give a canvas to people to have their own perspective and their own idea of Auroville and not feed the concept and rather have them experience it was very important. And hence the pacing of the film was structured in the way, because development scenes going slow would have not edged in the way in the right way as much as going on fast pace on post would have helped. Plus music was composed after the edit was done because we wanted to ensure that we have the visuals put forward in the right way and then music to be composed with each visual. So, yeah.
So just a quick reply. It's said more by saying less, is what I want to say. Like it was resounding without sound.
Okay, thank you. We're getting a little bit step by step deeper into the content, and I wanted to approach today with intention with the formal aspect because the topics are quite sincere and hard to start with, but I do want to go there slowly because when we look at Apnea, I find it almost unbearable to watch that film. I had to leave in between for a few minutes because I couldn't take it anymore. And we saw the trailer for those who were not able to see it in Italian. I'm not sure if everybody is fluent in Italian here, probably not. The story is about immigration from Africa to Europe and how some people are making it in the most dreadful, painful, devastating, torturous, and abusive way, and many are not making it. And to watch that film is, for me, really hard. And when I was thinking about that format, and I'm sorry if I'm going on a little bit, stop me if somebody has a question, but I want to, because I'm coming from Germany, and I've been grown up with this culture of memory. Because of World War II, our culture in Germany had this commitment to make sure that we don't forget. So we were raised with this type of documentary so that nobody ever can say, I didn't know. We know. Okay, we know. And in a way, I find that documentary of Apnea has, for me, that quality of archival in the best sense, really documented to make sure that it's on file, that it's known, that it's heard. And as an educational purpose, I also think, of course, to really tell people what is going on. And yet you managed at the end to stop with a moment which didn't leave you completely in the dark. So I was wondering what your thoughts were behind that.
Well, yes, first of all, thank you for your words. And yes, for us, it's the same. We aimed to make a documentary that could just tell their stories, because really, in Europe, we never know anything about these people. And so it was really important for us to make people know, let people know about their stories, because usually we think that they arrive in Italy or in Europe because they want to find a better life. But usually when they leave their homes, they don't know that they want to come to Europe. They just want to have a better life, of course. Sometimes they escaped from a war, sometimes from difficult situations and so on. But there is a really structure and an organization that start from each country in Africa, and it's very organized, a criminal organization that take them from their homes and then trying to bring them to Libya before, and then they throw them away through the Mediterranean Sea. They are like garbage, you know. And so, yes, thank you for your words, because yes, for us it's also important that we know, that people know about their lives and about their stories. And also because when you know something about other people, when you know their stories, probably you can start to see these people in a different way. And in Italy, we've got a little bit of problem with the racism against migrants. So it's really important that yes, that people know their stories. And we are going to start a tour in the schools. A lot of teachers ask for us for this documentary, because yes, I think it's really important that young people see it, because of course if we have some screening, probably it will come to see the film just people that are interested in the theme, in this issue, will come to see the film. So it's really yeah, we are proud that it will be seen in a lot of schools in Italy, for now in Italy, and then we'll see.
Elena, help me in this phrase. So when we showed the documentary, one guy tell to us, for me it's important to tell my story in this way, because sometimes, every time that I meet someone, they second questions they ask me is, but you are come from the sea? Yes, sure. And for him, it's difficult to remember every time his story, because everybody, they want come one step
further.
Further. Thank you. So this is another point of view that we don't Non l'avevamo valutato prima, Elena?
Okay, we didn't expect it before starting to do the documentary.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, and also for some of them said to us that it was like a therapy, because some of them have never tells about his story, and he had just written on a diary, and so telling to the camera, because we were in the studio, we were me, Claudia, the third director, anyone else, and the guys that the interviewed people. So for some of them, it has been also like a therapy, they say that, and I think, yeah, that was another thing we were not proud, but we were happy about.
What did
Thanks, Claudia and Elena, for your movie. I think it is really important to put these people on a focus and to make them visible, because the problem of my question is, do you have been able to diffuse your movie outside of festival? Is there any television we were interested? Because for me, it's not easy to make this sort of movie, but it is possible. And I think the most difficult thing is to make it visible to the public. So how did you manage this? And what is your conclusion? And how can we work to make it more visible?
All right. We are trying to make it, to have a screening in the European Parliament. This could be a very, it's a different way to diffuse it, but especially for the political part, and also in a network of, well, I don't know the name in English, ambasciate, of consuls in different countries. Sorry, I don't know the name.
Ambassadors.
Ambassador, exactly. Thank you so much. And yes, trying to arrive not only in the festivals. About the TV and broadcasting distribution, well, it's not really easy, because we had a festival right now in France, that is the FIPA Doc. We were in Biarritz last week, and we spoke also with people, with distributors, broadcasting distributors, and they said that it's not a really, it's hard for them to distribute a documentary that has no fiction and that has this form. So they said to us in a very sincerely way that probably is not a broadcasting product. All right, but we are trying to diffuse it through educational channels and ambassadors, and we hope through the European Parliament, and maybe and now we are also trying to do distribution in the theaters, in the cinemas, but only in Italy, because it's so hard to diffuse it in other countries. Well, so unfortunately for now, we have no plans to distribute it in broadcasting and TVs.
But if you have some idea, so we are welcome.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks a lot, guys. Claudia and Elena, I was wondering whether, if you were to rewrite the whole movie, the whole documentary, you would include sort of an itch I'd like to scratch, which is to talk about how colonialism created not just a want, but a need for these people to leave their home, their shattered homelands and come to Europe?
Claudia, do you want to answer you? Or
I'm not really sure.
Alright.
So we start, it's not a really answer, but we start to just to take this story and give back to the public. So maybe no is the right answer, because they are these people. Punto.
Yes, probably we won't. And we were also we didn't know if say something about after their arrivals in Italy, because they told us a lot about the welcoming centers, the reception centers, but we really decided to have just their stories and their lives, and probably we hope that people after have seen the documentary want to know more, and so maybe go by yourself, by oneself, to study, about colonialism or the yes, reception centers and so on.
Thank you. I think the question here.
So I'm a filmmaker from Los Angeles, and in many media forms, including documentary, and I have an emotional, visceral observation first that leads into a question, which parlays on what you just asked about their situation. I had to leave at some point as well and come back because I was so moved. And congratulations on your choice to have them just speak directly to us. My experience was this feeling of haunting, that, especially in their eyes, that they were speaking from the void. They were speaking from having multiple times having made peace with that they weren't going to make it, and my experience of their humanness and the capacity to share with us was that we were witnessing the voices of ghosts who are now still, thankfully, among our family. My question was, did you ever get any sense in finding these souls that on some level they were speaking for all of these voyagers, that they were representing them in some way, and that how did you find each other? Did you feel like they identified you as storytellers?
Well, of course, it was really hard for us to listen for the stories, and they were just in front of us and say, but some of them have just made some different speech about their stories. Some of them came from projects that in which they were to schools and speak with the people. So some of them were most it was easy. Exactly, it was not the first time they spoke about. But well, the most difficult part probably during the interviews was trying to build a relationship with them. So the first part. So they told us a lot about their lives. We started asking them about their lives in their countries. So where are you born, and about brothers and sisters and their common life. And I think that part helped us to build a relationship with them. But of course, it was really, really hard when they started to say us about their experiences, but they weren't told us that stories. They told to the camera, but they spoke with themselves, not with us. We disappeared in the room, in the studio. Yes, so and for us, it was also hard, but when we finished it, I remember that every day that we finished an interview, we said, wow, we have a lot more than before. I don't know in which term, but we were enriched about the stories, also if they were so hard. So I don't know if I have answered your question. Probably not. I don't know if Claudia wants to say something else.
No, I would like just to add a little things. So we start to ask the common life in their country, but after we live free to say everything without interruption. So maybe it is how to follow a flow of pensieri, of thoughts. And after, when they finish, we take a break, and then we ask something that we would like to know better. Maybe something that, but never force them to tell something that they not able to
speak about,
relieve. So, I don't know if I answered too, but that's it.
No, sorry, we don't listen.
Yeah, try again. You can't hear anything.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
when I watched your movie, I was thinking about the survivor of the concentration camp, of the Nazi concentration camp. And we know that the survivor had a big probability to be survivor, because a lot of other people died and they don't die. So, can you tell us about this in the interview? Do you feel something like this or not?
Sorry, I lost the first part of your question because I didn't listen very well. Sorry.
When I watched your movie, your documentary, I was thinking about the survivor of the concentration camp in Germany.
Okay.
After the Second World War, and we saw the capability to be a survivor, because when you are a survivor, it means that other people die and not you. And I was thinking, have you
about this?
Something about this in your interview? Do you feel something about this?
Well, yes, of course, we made some relations with Nazism in Germany. Yes, we have to think about it, and it's the same for us. I think that, and the similar part, I think, is that we don't know anything about what it's happened. You know, we know, but what happened, especially in the desert, okay, and in Libya. So there's some similar things because there are the centers very organized where these people are tortured. And so, yes, we thought about this similarity with, of course, with the Nazism and with because it's really organized also in Libya, how it was during the Second World War. And there is a criminal organization that is really organized with the centers dedicated. It's not the government right now that bring on these centers. These are the unofficial prisons and jails. But of course, a lot of people die there, in Libya especially, and in the desert, and no one know about them. So yes, we thought about this parallel, of course.
Hi, I had a question for Ritesh. So watching it was a very anxious experience for me, where you could feel that even though things are going well right now, it is bound to change, and it seemed like a very strong parallel to peace in current times as well, where all things are maybe okay for a moment, but it will go down a worse route. Was the parallel intentional? And since the tone was up to you, it wasn't a proper documentary, was it considered was the down point considered to be maybe a bit before the ending, and the ending is a bit more optimistic? Were those were different endings considered tonally?
No, basically, I wrote a fiction story in 2016. I'm from Banaras. I live on the other side of the river called Mughal Sarai. Now it's called Deen Dayal Nagar because you can't use. There a lot of names are changing. That's Muslims. When I was writing the film, I was just writing because I went to Banaras a lot of times, and then I met a lot of viewers, and I also saw the women dancing in front of men, and then anyone can do anything. So I started spending time with them, and when I was spending time, I created the two characters. One's name is Sadab, one's name is Rani, and I wanted to tell this through my feature narrative. Uh, Things became part. It was not that okay. I'm trying to show something. I'm trying against it. If there's anyone or any government, any speeches that's going to be there, it was just a craft that I chose. The craft in the way I don't wanted to tell a documentary film. I made documentary films, and documentary films, the craft is very different. When I decided to make a fiction film, the craft that I was choosing and I was making the fiction. Uh, these all things became the part. Like if you see, it's the sound that I'm using it. That's we heard it in YouTube. We heard it, okay, uh, and now we are feeling it, okay, because how this whole Ram started coming, and without understanding this whole Ram thing. So Varanasi itself is a beautiful place. It's a beautiful space where you will go and you will feel very different. I telling a story of Varanasi that I felt to tell right now. I just wanted to say that okay, this is important, and ending optimistic. I'm not giving any solution or making. I just making a showing a film where I want you to get the film, get the character, understand the character, or not understand the character. I just wanted to tell that story where you go through that emotion. I wanted at the end film to haunt you. When you go back, you decide not to sleep easy. And that's the whole thing. And because whatever I'm saying or whatever in the film, it is there. Somewhere in the Sadab, anyone can relate with Sadab. Any person who is a Muslim or who is from minority. People like Rani, there are a lot of women can relate who are going through every day, either they're bar dancer, either because already when you're women and when you are doing something that's not okay for this patriarchal society, you become more vulnerable. So I'm trying to tell the story of their lives where they just want kind of a love. It's like Sadab is falling for someone who's a Jewish girl, Rani feels something, a dancer feels someone who's just don't want her body. So somewhere when I was taking the film, when I was writing the whole thing, it made me feel that I don't want to tell, okay, go smile and be happy, or wow, 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 I saw the film, and then no, I want you to go back, think about the film again, try to see the film again, and feel how privileged we are, and where we are going. And that's exactly it. So if film gives you that, then it's fine. If that doesn't give you, I can't give you the optimistic feel in the film. Yeah, but not in this film. Hopefully next film. No idea.
Hello, good evening. I have a question. Do you follow their destinies now? How they live, where they live, which jobs do they have, where do their kids study? And was you able to help any one of them in person, for example, to find a job, something like that? Thank you.
This question is for whom? I think for Elena.
Yeah,
It's for us, right? Or
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's for Elena.
Okay. Thank you. Well,
Clearly.
yes, we know about them. All of them had already a job when they did the interview with us, and now we know that. I think, Claudia, if I'm wrong, say to me. I think that all of them now have a job, and two of them that are Aitil and Therese, that are married, and they have a child here in Italy, and because she was pregnant during her journey, but they have two little children in their country, so they are trying to do, like in Italian is ricongiungimento familiare, so it's like familiar re-meeting, I don't know the name in English, trying to take them and to bring them to Italy, but it's a really difficult thing for Italian, the second immigration, so they are with a regular visa in Italy, but for now they cannot bring their child in Italy too. So yes, all of them now are in a good situation in Italy because they have a job, but the problem now is about visa in Italy, because we need lot of time to have a visa in Italy to stay there, and some of them, and they cannot rent a house or have a job if they have not a visa. So, so for some of them, the problem is that when their visa will end, for one in February, right, Claudia? Now in February. All right. So
in February.
Sorry?
For Mustafa is in February.
Okay, yes. So the visa of Mustafa will finish in February, and in Italy you have to, I don't know how many time, but probably like 1 year and a half to have another visa. But without a visa, he cannot work, and he cannot rent a home. So it's a really hard situation for that. But well, all of them stay well for now, and luckily we have ever seen that if this documentary will win something in a festival, some money, we want to, share it with them. But for now, we have no any awards, money awards. So we'll see.
Hello. So my question is to Ritesh. First of all, the way that you were saying, the feeling that you wanted to portray through your film, I really felt that. because like after watching it, I was really moved by how you those two stories you intertwined. So I had two questions. So basically, I saw a lot of where there is a lot of noise in a scene, and then you bring in a scene which is like really silent. So what was your reason for doing that? And the second question that I had is like, how did you because these are two very different stories, but this a little bit felt to me like a film that you might have seen like Masan, where stories are different but they intertwine in a very nice way. So how did you approach your storytelling?
Sorry, I'll go for the first question. Uh, Basically, there's a silence after storm. So that's exactly when there's a storm. After that, you feel the silence, and you feel the silence much. You feel the storm also. That what happened, any storm. So I think it's all the soundscape we created in that way, because sound was also telling a story. So wherever things are happening, a lot of places where there are a lot of sound and a lot of space is giving you the feel, and then the silent space where you process and feel it more. That was the whole idea to when we were doing the whole soundscape and creating it. Second, telling the two parallel stories. Yeah, Neeraj used it. Neeraj in Masan. There a lot of people did this because it's also in Banaras. So there are sometimes this thing comes that okay, there is a way like how the Masan there are the two stories. But not, I always love kind of intertwining stories because the life is like that. You are crossing each other. Your life relate to each other somewhere, not directly but indirectly. You were never meeting, possible, but there are some story. There are things that affecting to each other. So whatever is happening there is affecting. So there are two stories that I'm telling, and again, they both are vulnerable in their own way, and they both are living with this fear. We all are living in this the fear now, and that fear also the Banaras is a space that's a third character. It's also not two story. There are three story in the film. The two story, one story of Rani, one story of Sadam, and third story of Varanasi. Because of that, you see what's happening in Varanasi, how the change, what we recorded. I think it is the last recorded the Varanasi that we recorded in our film. Now the Varanasi is changed a lot. This whole place, they broke the lot of areas and they are making a new. They made this new temple. So yeah, so idea was intertwined in that way, and because I love saying, and this was my first debut feature, so I wanted to say it in that way. That's it. Nothing much. If you felt like Masan, but there's nothing like Masan. There's no ghat also. I used very less ghat in the film because I wanted to show the Banaras that I know. And being in Varanasi, spend my time, my childhood, and also did a lot of research. So I tried to show Varanasi that people never saw, not in Masan, not in other film, not in Ranjana, a Bollywood film. Or in any documentary film. Whenever we talk about Varanasi, we start talking about okay, Manikarnika Ghat where people die, and always Varanasi starts with people dying, and there's a Manikarnika Ghat. Varanasi is more beyond that. There's more. There are so many stories. I can tell story in Varanasi. I think 10, 11 stories more in Varanasi. That's going to be totally different from each other. So this is the story that I was saying this time was my Varanasi uh, from my own perspective, my own view. That's it.
If we have time for one more question. You didn't have a chance to talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Needs to be turned on.
So I think Elena said it a little bit earlier that the filmmaking kind of had also a therapeutic aspect for the interviewed people. And since that, I'm wondering, how did the filmmaking change you all, like all the four of you? That would be interesting for me to hear.
So sorry, how make this film change ourselves, right?
Yes. How did it
Okay.
change yourself, your perspective to the world, your
All
home,
right.
or whatever?
Okay. Well, we
Sorry, can you
sometimes I start.
answer everybody, please?
Sorry?
A short answer, everybody, please.
Short, really short, really short. Okay, really short. We are not activists, so and we didn't start to make activism after making this film. Probably it has changed us in terms of conscience about these themes and about people that are around us. So, but I think that we are really the same before starting to make the documentary. So I don't know if it has changed us in terms of changing of I know perspective or thinking about the world. All of us, we know that happens very bad things in the world. So probably the only changing it's about how now we know about this team and how we see as this team, these people in our country, and yes, probably just in this we changed
Maybe we
our
understand
perspective.
better.
Exactly.
Better the situation now, and we are able to give back an answer to the people that say, but this come for money what? Maybe these little things have changed.
Yeah, I think we are changing also as a person. We are changing every time. I'm not the same person who I was 2 years back or 3 years back. Every time I'm making film or whatever I'm doing, there's a change happening in me with the visual, with the sound. Because when you're doing a film, it's a whole process, especially when you do research and when you get to know about things, and your emotions also get triggered. And when you start working with a team, you have to think. I think every time you become more confident, you become you start taking, okay, next time I will take more challenge. You learn from your own mistakes and you learn from your own things. And somewhere I think we all are doing this filmmaking, is the filmmaking that kind of somewhere we feel that, okay, we are saying something that's very important to say. Because of that we are saying, so we become more human. I feel like I become more human, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you for the question. That's a good one. For this particular film, this was the first time we were experimenting with a format like just a cinematic narrative. I think with every time we make a film, I'll be more direct towards your question. Every time we make a film, I think it just humbles me a bit more, because the process in itself, as they all rightly said, is so evolutionary that although we have a certain mindset or a narrative that we are trying to stitch in our heads, be it fiction or non-fiction, while filming or while developing the script as well, we are learning with every frame, every sequence, every story that we're coming up with. So the process is very humbling, and it's like there's a world of information, and it's never enough for you to stop at a certain point. So choosing the narrative, I think for all of us, is something that we decide basis how the story evolves around us when we are in the process of it. Along with that, choosing the right format really kind of affects us. Elena and Claudia, I'm sorry, I'm yet to watch your film. But Ritesh, I did watch your film, and I was very disturbed for a very long time. Because we as Indians, we are aware of what's happening. So I related to what Ritesh is trying to put forward. But the visuals were, I want to use the word gore, but not in a negative way. They were so powerful and very like it had a very strong impact. And I was curious on. I have many questions for you, but probably I'll message that to you and we can connect on that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
in terms of treatment, I think the story evolved in a certain way. While he is a citizen of Benares and he's been there, he knows the place much better than probably us who are not from Benares. So he put forward a perspective, and at a time, like he mentioned earlier, that felt right for him in that moment. For Claudia and Elena also, for their, it was a momentary thing for them, led them to decide that they want to put forward a message because, like Christoph also said, it has to be etched in memory. For us, we did not use a narrative because we wanted to create an experience. Because for us, in our process of working with Kolam, what you saw was not the trailer, it was actually a snippet of the film. The trailer is a little different, but we wanted to create an experience through our film because when we came here, the how we felt about the place was different from what we had thought and studied about the place before coming here. So I think it's yeah, so it's very humbling that way because you're always learning and you're growing with each film that you make. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I think we take this as a closing remark.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia, Elena, Saumya, everyone.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you, audience. Bye, bye, bye.